Hey guys, welcome. Today we'll have a special guide, and this is the introduction of the guides. I'll be using my Reddit guides and turning Reddit guides into the YouTube video guides. So today we're going to look at 5 things you might not know about auto chess. And yes, some things to be shared that Queen level players do use this quite often, and we'll be looking at those 5 things today. So let's get right into it. The first thing we'll look at is Enchantress gold hack. Some of us might know it, some of us might not know it. It's that Enchantress, when 2 of the 1-cost Enchantress are actually combined with another Druid, so when you combine 2 Enchantress, you plus any other Druid, you can sell them for 3 gold. It costs you 2 gold to buy the Enchantress, you actually sell her for 3 gold. This can make the difference when sometimes we're just 1 gold short from 10 gold to make the initial interest, and the money starts to roll. That's why you often see high level players or often other players keep Enchantress and other Druids for this particular reason. It's not that they want to play Druids, but rather they actually want to make additional gold by selling Enchantress at 2-star for profit. Unfortunately, previously, when this was happening, this would create a lot of additional Enchantress for doing so, but the code have changed since. If you guys are interested, definitely have a read at this one. The second tip is turning auto chess into a real-time action game. Using Blink Dagger, that is. How do we do this? We can put Blink Daggers on units like Tide, Disruptor, Axe, or Techies. There's other units that you actually want Blink Dagger on. Usually you want units that can be impactful in the backline, or units that can do a massive AoE spell on the enemy lines. But if you try to have the Blink Dagger on a unit after the round started, what's going to happen is you'll enable the unit to blink right away, and you can actually choose a moment when the unit blinks. So it's more like an action controlling game than instead of just a tower defense chess game. The example here I gave is having a 2-star Conquer or a 2-star Dragon Knight on the board. So I want the Conquer's Human Silence to be landing on the enemy before he blinks this run. So I don't want to give him the Blink Dagger right away. This is how I won the previous run because I was able to silence his Disruptor. But the thing is, I'm so low on HP. What do I need to do is I'm going to sit my courier next to the Conquer, and I'm ready to give the Blink Dagger to the Conquer. If the Disruptor is not human silenced, I want the Conquer to be out of the storm if Disruptor covers him by the storm, because I need that bolt. So if the Disruptor casts the bolt on the Conquer, I want the Conquer to be blinking forward with the Blink Dagger right after the storm is cast on him, because this round it will be crucial. I might die here, so I want to try everything I can this round. But you might ask, why don't I give the Blink Dagger to the Conquer earlier? Because if he happened to land his Human Silence, then the round is secured. That's how we win the round. But so I want to keep him there before the Disruptor cast. But if the Disruptor cast, I want him to blink right away. This is why we can turn the Blink Dagger given to a unit into a live action strategy game, and this allows us to make some really quick decisions on the crucial rounds to change the difference of coming 3rd or 4th, or maybe coming 2nd or even 1st. The second thing is, when we have a Dragon Knight, and it's a Dragon Knight that's level 2 with splash damage, if it's a crucial round for us, we can actually retarget the Dragon Knight's targeting by giving him a Blink Dagger. But this is an irreversible process. The next turn, he's going to blink forward to his death most likely. So this is like the last stand for us on this particular round. I usually do this when I'm really low on health. I just want to win this round. I don't worry about the next round. The second tip is the secrets to good RNG actually. So why do we see a lot of high level players with great RNG? And sometimes why do they likely to roll into the units they want? So there's 3 things I want to share with you guys. The first thing is stay on the correct level if possible. At level 4 and 5, we have the highest rate for 2-cost units. So if we have pairs say Beastmaster, Juggernaut, Timber, and Queen of Pain, which are really highly ranked by my tier list and by most players as well, I'll attach a link below for the tier list for you guys. So we don't want to level to level 6 too quickly, because when you do that, you actually lose rates on drawing those units to complete your pairs. So sometimes players will actually stay there on top of the reasons other than win streak, on top of the reasons to, for power spike, they actually stay on level 5 for those particular units. Similarly, for a 3-cost unit, you want to be staying at level 6 to level 8. This has the highest rate. Let's say if I'm looking forward to complete my awesome 3-star Terrorblade, or my Razor, or my Shadowfang, if I park my current level at level 8, it actually is better for us with the rates. Yes, again, there are multiple factors to consider: how low our HP is, what round it is. Say if it's round 30, you definitely want to level maybe. And let's say if you're solo on HP, you are desperate, you don't want to park there to just for rolling, you may want to level up to add an additional unit to protect your health. So this is great to know with rolling. So sometimes I do roll at level 5 before level to level 6 if I have multiple pairs that goes. And sometimes I tend to find my 3-star Terrorblade Razor this way by parking at level 8 or level 7. The second thing I want to touch on the probability is that we can first purchase the units we do not need to increase the chance of finding units we wanted. Because knowing there's a limited amount of units in a certain chest pool, we know there are 10 legendaries each in the chest pool. That means there are 70 legendaries in total. So if I wanted a Techies, Tide or Enigma, which is close to half of the 5 cost units, if I purchase, and we can sell them later, if I purchase a Lich, Deathbreath, a Jarrow, or even a Zeus, this will increase my chance of finding one Techies by 2.078% if I purchase just one other legendary that is not a Techie. So what that calculation means is it's 10 out of 70 to find Techies versus 10 out of 69. Because we reduce the pool, we increase the chance of finding one Techies by that much, just by doing something small. I know 2% is not great, but thinking about this, only 10% to find a legendary, 2% on a particular row of 5 to find one Techies is still something. So now, what if I want the Techies, Tide, and Enigma? What that happens is it's 30 out of 70, and it becomes 30 out of 69. And that actually increases the chance by 6.213% to find Techies, Tide, or Enigma in one particular row, just by buying one random 5 cost unit that we do not need. This does work for lower rarity units as well, but the increase is not as massive because for the purple units, for the 4 cost, it's 15 of them, and it's quite a bit of them, but you will also slightly help with the probability. I really want to show this to you guys, and you do tend to see a lot of streamers, a lot of high-level Queen players do this quite frequently. And because of this, I tend to buy them while I'm rolling. So I tend to do this when I'm rolling with 10 or 20 plus gold, and I sell those units after, so no other players benefit this while it's happening. So I do my rolling, and I sell them after, so no one benefits also from this particular rolling. And sometimes I keep a particular unit to deny other players as well, because it's quite crucial in a late game if you deny the other player from reaching a Lich or a Gyro that's 2-star, or any legendary to a 2-star. And the last thing about rolling and probability with units is that most of us didn't know initially that if you have a 3-star unit on the board, you can no longer find that particular unit in your pool. For example, if you have a 3-star Tinker, the chance of me finding a 3-star Bounty and Clockwork is even higher because I will no longer have Tinker in my pool. So that means it's more likely for me to find other 1-cost units the moment it's a 3-star Tinker on the board. And vice versa, if I have a 3-star Bounty Hunter, it's more likely I find my 3-star Clockwork. That's why sometimes the Gambling Goblins tend to work early game, and they tend to steamroll. When they find one 3-star, they find other 3-stars more likely as well. We can also make this to our advantage as well. If we have a 3-star Laundred, if we take this Laundred back to the storage, we can roll additional Laundreds, and sometimes you see a person with 2 3-star Laundred. Because all you need is 4 Laundred, all of a sudden you have 2 of the 3-star Laundreds. The fourth thing I want to speak to you guys is about items. Items can be game winning, especially now when items are dropped everywhere when a player dies. So there's more chance to find items, there's more chance for us to fuse items. We tend to find ourselves with game-changing items like Refresher or Assault Cars, or there's other items, but sometimes we have to wait for the next turn to combine. And if my HP is so low that I'm likely to die here, I might do something additional on top of that. So there's a few things we can do. So over here I said desperate time calls for desperate measures. When HP is below 10%, we can sell the unit that holds the item, that holds the pieces of the crucial item, and this will allow a courier to pick it up, and when a courier picks this item up, he will automatically combine his item. I'll do this when I'm actually in a desperate situation that I think the item will provide more benefit to us than the unit having the item. For example, if I have Voidstone on a Juggernaut and I have a 2-star Deucer, I have pieces for Refresher. I can sell the Juggernaut, give the Refresher to the Deucer, and all of a sudden have double stoning potential, which will secure the round for us. Because we're so desperate on health, we don't want to wait for more turns, we don't want this item to be on the Juggernaut. So Sometimes, yes, we do need to complete this right now because we're so low on health, or sometimes it's so crucial to be on the right unit with the right item. Now, there is an additional thing with assault carriers. Being the only aura item, we can provide buffs to allies only, no debuffs to the enemy if it's on the courier. So what this allows us to do is the courier becomes a buff unit, and here there's a little typo. There won't be any debuff on the enemy. It has changed. So if we want the courier to be holding this item, it will constantly provide attack speed buffs and armor buffs where the courier stands. We can adjust this instead of having a unit jumping around with it. The downside is you can't provide the debuffs on the enemy. But if I have a hunter lineup, if the assault courier is on my courier, what that means is I can stand perfectly to give 6 or 5 hunters the attack and armor buff. And no enemies will be reaching my hunters initially, so it's okay. And when the enemy reaches them, what I can do is I can do the item trick. I can pass the item onto the hunter. All of a sudden they have the aura buff and they have the minus aura buff as well. The last thing is we'll be touching on that during a round or during the rounds when an enemy player dies, items flies to us. If we're quick enough about it before our round ends, we give the item to the unit we want to combine the item, still pass the item before the round ends. If you're quick enough about it before your round ends, before you lose or before you win the round, you can combine the item 1 round earlier. So you will combine at the start of next round instead of giving the item at the next round and combine at the second round after. Simply because the game will lock you from giving items to your units after your round ends. Lastly, we have some really great mana guides and tips on mana usage and how do we give items to particular units. So, to best use our items, we want to know how mana works in auto chess. In Dota auto chess, we can get mana from attacking and from taking damage. We'll be focused on from mana gain from attacking. So, with our mana gain items, the max mana every unit can get is 10 for normal units and 20 for units that are shamans, mages, and warlocks. Why is that? I'll be showing you guys this particular Dota Auto Chess Wiki. And over here, I'll attach this link as well in the Dota Chess Wiki. Over here, it explains in great details why is that the maximum mana a unit can gain is only 10 for a normal unit and 20 for shamans, warlock, and mages. I won't be touching this to detail, but I'll explain this in a summary to you guys. So what all those means is when a unit deals 50 damage to the enemy, that means they deal 50 damage not because it has 50 attack damage. Let's say the enemy has 50% defense. The unit needs to have 100 attack to deal 50 damage to the enemy. Once the unit deals 50 damage to the enemy, he will gain 10 mana with each attack. But if this unit is a shaman, warlock, or a mage, this unit will gain 20 mana per attack. That's given that unit does not have any mana bonus items. And we'll come back to stacking a little later as well. What that means is, once the unit reaches 50 damage deal potential, there's no need for a unit to gain attack damage items in order for him or for her to gain more mana from each attack. We want attack speed items, we want mana regen items on units. We also prefer mana regen items on units such as Shaman, Mages, and Warlock because the multiplier to 20 is greater than to 10. Let's say, if my Medusa auto attacks once, she can gain max of 10 mana. If my Shadow Shaman attack once, he can get 20 mana. But if we don't consider how important the Medusa compared to Shadow Shaman is, I prefer to give the mana regen item to Shadow Shaman because he'll gain 30 mana with a crown, he'll gain 40 mana with a Void Stone with each attack, compared to Medusa only gaining 10 mana. If we consider the importance of the Medusa, I'll still give it to the Medusa. Something to highlight is that demons can double dip. Why is that? Because demon also triggers the true damage when there's no demon hunter or multiple demons on the board. The true damage is another instance of damage that's calculated separately. So while demon is doing 10 mana per attack, the true damage once it exceeds 50 damage will also give 10 mana for the demon. That's why you see demons gain mana so much more faster. Now, one thing to highlight is Shadowfang being a warlock and also being a demon. Not only he gains 20 mana once he deals 50 damage, he also gains another 20 mana once he deals true damage that's 50. So that's why you see Shadowfang as a warlock and the demon gain mana so much faster than any other units. That's why Shadowfang was so popular before his damage nerf as well. Yes, over here we did explain what the damage dealing mechanics works. With this particular mana guide, I want to explain why trolls are so good. If all units attack faster, they gain mana faster, and having shamans and warlocks on the lineup means this is also amplified because they attack faster, they also gain mana at double the rate compared to normal units. That's why troll lineup usually get its spells off fast. You also see early Witch Doctor bounces, early Storm, and early Hex with Shadow Shaman. It's because they attack faster, they gain mana fast as well. Let's have a look at item priority with this particular idea in mind. We can give attack items to 1-star units so they can cast fast because they can deal their true potential to deal 50 damage for max mana gain per hit. That's why sometimes I give attack damage to Necromancer so he can heal faster when he gains enough mana fast. So we want the Necromancer to be dealing 50 max damage, and once after that he'll be gaining 20 mana per attack. For 2-star units like Medusa that will be capped at 10 mana already, we want to give her the attack speed items and mana multiplier items such as Hyperstone and Void Stone for the attack speed and mana gain. Lastly, we want to touch on items that do not stack with itself, because often I see items such as Blightstone, Rope of Major, Stout Shield is used on the same unit, and that's not what we wanted. We want to make the best use of items instead of making them obsolete or waste their potential. A few items do not stack with itself, and those items are Blightstone, Rope of Magi, Wizard Staff, Crown, Voidstone, Stout Shield, and additionally, Stout Shield do not stack with Vanguard because Stout Shield is used to make the Vanguard. Crown does not stack with Dagger, and Battlefury does not stack with Perseverance. So also, if you have Scythe of Vice, the items that use Scythe of Vice do not stack on top of each other. That is, the Voidstone do not stack with Scythe. Items like Kaya, Desolator, and Dagger do not stack on themselves as well. So, knowing those items do not stack, we want a unit to be holding one of the debuff item at once. What I didn't additional add here is a unit can only debuff the enemy once per unit. For example, if my Troll Warlock has a Blightstone and a Rope of Major, when Troll Warlock attacks enemy, he will only debuff with one of the items. He will not be able to debuff with two of the items. So on top of the items that does not stack with itself, debuff items do not stack with different debuff items. What do I mean by that is I have tested with Troll Warlock, a Blightstone on the Troll and a Rope Major, he can only land one debuff, the other one goes to waste. Similarly, we want to split the debuff items on different units. We want the Blightstone to be on one unit, we want Rope Major to be on the other unit. The ideal candidates for debuff items for me will be range units. Why is that? Because debuff items are applied the moment you hit the enemy with auto attack, and usually range unit have the best chance of hitting the enemy all the time. And compared to the range unit, a melee unit might be blocked by his own ally, maybe blocked by the enemy, or just may not be able to attack because it's a melee unit. So I prefer to give items to the range unit. Sometimes I do consider, what if I upgrade this item? If I upgrade this Blightstone, it will be a Desolator. Ideally, I want it to be on the damage dealer, but I'm okay with a range unit like Crystal Maiden when I don't have a particular damage dealer in a mage lineup. So this will be the end for this particular guide, and what I'll do now is I'll check the chat and let me see if there's any questions with regards to this particular 5 suggestions and 5 guides.